Another classic but strong argument for BONE, SMASHING, which we're going to be calling BS, has resurfaced recently from the depths of the internet. And this is the SPH subperiosteal hematoma argument, which is actually one of the most scientifically valid arguments for BS when talked about in theory. But in this video, we're going to be enlightening the nuances that a lot of people leave out when implying this argument in real life and the osteologic clock. So let's go over this theory. Subperiosteal hematoma ossification refers to the process where bleeding between the periosteum and bone surface triggers bone formation. The trauma lifts the periosteum, which activates mesenchymal stem cells, MSCs, which can cause, interestingly, either endochondral or intramembranous ossification depending on the microenvironment. But now let's go over the 5 reasons why SPH argument fails. Number 1, there's absolutely no way to confirm SPH without imaging, MRI, ultrasound, which feels like, whatever feels like swelling or bruising will most often end up being subcutaneous bleeding between skin and fat, not bone and periosteum. Number 2, most traumas don't cause SPH. Without deep periosteal distribution, standard blunt trauma is far more likely to cause a superficial hematoma, which have zero osteogenic potential. A true subperiosteal hematoma is rare and typically occurs in specific trauma cases or surgery. Number 3, BS may permanently close sutures. BS stimulates osteogenesis along sutural folds, but in a chaotic way. The osteogenic fronts are so much more likely to permanently fuse the sutures like the zygomaticomaxillary or frontal nasal, reducing your chances of holding onto craniofacial plasticity and long-term remodeling capacity. This happens because BS elevates periosteal strain, which upregulates BMP2 and TGF-beta signaling at sutural fronts, which skyrockets osteoblast differentiation via RUNX2 and fusing sutures through intramembranous ossification. Number 4, an SPH alone does not guarantee ossification. Even if you create an SPH for ossification to occur, the hematoma must undergo stable inflammation, angiogenesis, MSC recruitment, and then mineralization, which is an unlikely cascade in random trauma. You would need to stack dozens of perfectly timed asymmetrical placed SPHs for even 1 millimeter of growth, risking nerve damage or facial asymmetry in the process. All in all, while the subperiosteal hematoma theory sounds cool and plausible, but in any real-world application, especially with BS, you just can't verify any true periosteal detachment without constant professional imaging. Even genuine SPHs require perfect sequencing of stable inflammation and angiogenesis, etc. My final claim and hypothesis conclude: inducing subperiosteal hematomas via repeated traumas is unreliable and even adversarial for achieving stable net gain in the surrounding bone matrix. Unless precisely controlled and monitored, periosteal trauma induces resorption or fusion rather than productive osteogenesis.